Hello, pocket knife community, knife lovers, knife enthusiasts, interested viewers. Holder here. So, if you're not familiar with Rick Hinderer's relationship with ZT or Zero Tolerance, they commissioned. They make a few knives that are Rick Hinderer designs. The 0393, which this is a Rick Hinderer design after the Eclipse, the Hinderer Eclipse. I personally, when I see the ZT version of a Hinderer, usually the ZT version to me looks better. I don't know. It's almost like Rick, you messed up. You got your design under the Hinderer badge, and then you make the ZT version, and it looks better than your Hinderer. Because this knife here looks way better than the Eclipse, to me, my opinion. This whole design is very hit or miss. It's a love it or hate it, but we'll get into that. Before I get into the 0393, this happens to be the Glcf version, glowing carbon fiber, which is basically a gimmick. Yeah, it's just a gimmick. The knife is so good, it's not necessary. Right? It's such an amazing knife. It's not necessary for them to do the gimmick, but they did. Whatever. Okay, I don't know if that was Hinderer's idea or ZT's idea. Who knows? But I just wanted to hit home with just to talk about the 0562 for one quick second. The ZT 0562, this is the titanium version. This is my enhanced version of the knife. Of course, I'm always going to have something a little bit enhanced. These are old knives, by the way. All these knives. These aren't new knives, if you don't know. These knives are 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old when they came out. But they're still very relevant. So this is the ZT0562, and Hinderer commissioned ZT to make this knife based off their crap. Hold on, guys. Based off the XM18 3.5, which this, believe me, is also a very, very, very enhanced version of the knife. It has a frag pattern on it. It has a custom ground blade. They do not come looking like this. The ZTs always seem to have, like, the slice of grime on this blade is absolutely spectacular. Look at the top swedge, look at the blade, really nice. This knife happens to have a special monochromatic screw package, completely aftermarket on it. So that's why it looks that way. So like I said, but this you get the idea of how they do it with ZT and Hinderer. So, all right, enough of the 0562. Yeah. So this is the ZT0393 Glcf. This is not my knife. This is a buddy of mine. This knife belongs to a buddy of mine, a guy that I've known, 25 years. So he just got this knife. He lent it to me to put on my channel. I absolutely love when that happens. It's only like the second time, I think, it's happened with one of my other comrades. So it's a pleasure to review something that I don't own. Having said that, now that I have put my hands on this knife, I probably will get one. This knife was released like 5 years ago, though. Maybe even more. Actually, I think it was like maybe 2018. Yeah, so that's like 5-6 years ago. So it's been out for a while, and when it first came out, it didn't really do well. They sort of discontinued it, but I know today you can get new ones. They're not all just on the secondary market. So I guess they re-released it. Don't know why it didn't do well. Probably because of the way it looks. it definitely has a look that, like I said, I think it's a love it or hate it. I really, really, really do. Um, yeah. So let's just get into it. Am I gonna go to the website or am I gonna measure these things on my own? I don't know. Maybe I'll measure it on my own. All right. I've been lazy. Don't like pulling out my measuring tape. All right, so let's just talk about this knife for a second. It is 8.5 inches long. The blade is 3 3/4 length, and the cutting edge is about, yeah, it's almost the same, man. Maybe, a smidgen off that. So we're talking about a 3.8 inch blade with a 3.67 inch cutting surface. Yeah, so 8.5. Did I say 8.5? I did say 8.5, right? I said 8.5. Yeah, it's about 8.5 inches. So it's not a small knife. Over 8 inches is not a small knife. It is in the sweet spot though. It's not outside the sweet spot. It is right there. The blade itself. Let's talk about the blade. The blade is a Tonto harpoon. No, wait. It's a flat grind. Actually has a dual grind. There is actually a grind line here that goes forward. Can't see it, but it does. So there's a dual grind, but they didn't change the grind. It's just a different section. They didn't hollow it here and make it flat there. And it is a harpoon. It also has blade stops that look like thumb studs and operate like thumb studs. So they are not thumb studs, but they are they're blade stops, and they're attached to the blade, and they nestle right up beneath the titanium frame. And it is a frame lock. It almost looks like a bolster lock, but it's not. It's a frame lock. Yeah, so the frame, the blade stops, which you can use as studs because of the way they're outlined, is a blade stop, and it goes right up underneath the titanium frame. Very nice. It's not going anywhere. Jimping's okay. Not anything to write home about, but when you're Spyderco biased, what do you expect? No front finger choil. It does have a sharpening choil, which looks to be a very good sharpening choil. Yeah, very nice. It's got a stonewash finish. I would actually say it's even more than stonewash. I would even call this apocalyptic. When it's like stonewash, but it's like really stonewash, I call it apocalyptic. It's like it's a serious one of those. It don't matter what you do. Yeah, 20 CV steel, and it does have a serial number on it. The index flipper tab on this is very nice. Light switch is much more proficient than push button. And I would definitely say that flipper tab, that index flipper, is also a very good finger guard. Because the jimping, it doesn't have any sharp edges there, so your finger nestles right up underneath it. Very nice. Love that. Moving down to the carbon fiber. These carbon fibers are sort of like, they're not really scales. You know what I mean? They're more like an overlay. I'm gonna tell you, if they had made, see, I think this is what people don't like about this design, or what they didn't like about it. What was so controversial about it, I guess. why it was released and then discontinued. I think if they just like, just want to point to this thing real quick, and I can't really point to it with my finger here. Let's just say you like this distance here, like that gap, right? You took that gap and went around the whole knife with it, and even like it would have to be more than this gap. Like this is not enough, but take about like that, like 2 millimeters or 3, and did that all the way around so you could still see the frame, but then just did it in carbon fiber. I think then I think the knife would have looked much more appealing to more people. I personally like this design because, like a lot of other knives that I've spoke about in the past, the knife industry is becoming more and more difficult to stand out in a crowd. It's becoming more and more difficult to say my design looks different than yours. You're not gonna mistake this knife for any other knife. What's so amazing too is that the aftermarket scale for this isn't like this. It fills the whole frame. I've seen it in my Carter, and it might even be a G10 version. So it makes the knife, I would never put that scale on here. I would leave this thing just like this. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, the ergos are very nice. You don't feel any of that. Pocket clip is perfect. Let's see how it goes in the pocket. Yeah, it's good. Pocket clip feels nice. Yeah. Now also they also put jimping on the bottom side for your ring finger and your pinky, right? Jimping on the bottom side of the handle, and you know, it definitely adds a large degree of grip to the overall ergonomics. Carbon fiber is pretty smooth, pretty smooth. Yeah, I would say. And they gave you the option for a reversible pocket clip, you know. Yeah, they got a little cap in here to take that off. That's really nice. They also have the hinderer. Yeah, the typical hinderer. Well, it's not typical because it's not like the yeah, they didn't put the line in it, so you would need a different type of tool. But at least it's a one-sided pivot, which I do like. And you're talking about 2018, 2017. So barrel standoffs, and yeah. Yeah, so the action on this is extremely smooth and positive. Lockup is, oh my gosh, I don't know, maybe that looks like 10%. That's crazy. Yeah, that's really early on that lockup. Looks like you got a lot of life there. And there is a liner. Yeah, there is an overstop. There. Insert. There is an insert in there, which is good. Yeah, nice knife. Yeah, so the glow in the dark carbon fiber is weird. It's weird. Come on, stop. It's weird. You know, not necessary. It's one thing if they had tritium in here, or they had something that kind of glowed all the time, would have glow all the time. This, you have to add light to it, and then, you know, it glows for a minute and then it goes away. You know, like how many times you're going to use that? You know, are you ever going to use that? You know, I don't know why they did that. This knife came in numerous versions, as a micarta version, a G10, all different finishes on the blade. So they had a few different versions of it. You know, it is very interesting that they chose to do that, though. I'm sure that was ZT. I don't think that was Hinderer. I don't think he did that. Yeah, man, put some glow in the dark carbon fiber overlays. You know, that'll do it. That'll show the eclipse. You know. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, so it is a harpoon shaped blade, spanto shaped blade, and you know, the edge is very nice sharp edge. This type of blade is not ideal for like you know, it's not slicey dicey because it's a harpoon, and it's also an apocalyptic finish. You know, part of blades going through material is the finish on the blade, or the lack of finish allows it to be even more slicey and go through material. These are slicer grinds on both of these, and they're designed to be very slicey. Okay, this is not. This is more geared towards toughness. That harpoon has a thicker blade stock, and it has a more toughness appeal to it, a more heavy duty appeal to you know, to this type of knife. Just trying to just latch down the purpose, you know, the purpose of this tool. Yeah. So listen, do I think my buddy made a good choice for a purchase? Absolutely. Oh yeah. High quality tool. You know, you just have to know what it's for. And does this qualify for EDC? Of course it does. Yeah, of course it does. You know, and then also the enthusiasts in us, you know, you're always going to go for something like this. Okay, blade is perfectly centered, zero movement, up or down, bank vault lockup. Yeah, it's a solid build. And what else do we expect from ZT? Zero tolerance. They put out good stuff. And Hinderer wouldn't commission them if they didn't. So, all right, I think I covered it all. Basically, what's the verdict? Glowing carbon fiber? Yeah, boo, hiss, boo. Quality, amazing tool. Yay. Let me stop. Yeah, nah, it's yeah, very nice knife. So anyway, that's all I got. That's the ZT 0393 Glcf.